Welcome to the video on how you can find a designated prescribing practitioner in Coventry. As always, thank you for watching and let's make a difference in this world. So this video, we're talking about how you can find a designated prescribing practitioner in Coventry. Now, first of all, let's highlight some key terms so you understand this video itself. A designated prescribing practitioner, also known as a DPP, and traditionally was known as a DMP, is an individual who has been prescribing for 3 years and has experience in prescribing and is eligible to act as a mentor when you're undertaking the independent prescribing course. So the key thing to remember, this is for those individuals, for example, pharmacists, nurses, paramedics, physios, podiatrists, chiropodists, dietitians, midwives, therapeutic radiographers, optometrists, for example, who are a regulated healthcare professional. So it's not looking for beauticians or those who don't have or don't meet the requirements. So you're a regulated healthcare professional. You would like to gain your prescribing qualification because you're already experienced in an area that you want to develop your prescribing qualification in. And the website actually states that the course itself is designed for experienced healthcare professionals. That means that you already must be working with patients. You must be able to diagnose that condition. You must be able to treat that condition. You must be able to manage that condition. You must know about how to review that patient, and you must know your scope and your limitations. So you might be wondering, well, actually, I don't prescribe, so how's that even relevant? But it's not about prescribing. It's about making sure that you are actively seeing patients, and perhaps you're not actively prescribing, but you're advising patients to see an appropriate prescriber, you're giving advice, and you're working with that prescriber to make treatment decisions and so on. It is not about, for example, I see a patient with, let's say they've had a fall, an outstretched hand, and I think that they've broken perhaps part of the hand. And I say, that looks like a broken hand, go to the hospital. That would not be enough. On the other hand, if I had that same patient, I was actively assessing the patient so I could undertake a physical examination. I was able to recommend medication for them. I was able to diagnose the patient, let's say without an x-ray. Somehow I was able to diagnose the condition itself, but I wasn't able to write a prescription. So I speak with the GP or appropriate prescriber and say, I've got a patient here who's had an outstretched hand. I don't think it's broken. They need some painkillers, and I'll review them afterwards. I've undertaken a history, so I can take a thorough history. I've examined the patient. There's no alarm features here, no red flags, and could we prescribe some paracetamol, ibuprofen, and I will then ask the patient for a review or follow up with the patient. That means that you already have history taking skills. You can examine that condition. You know your alarm features. You know your limitations, and you're actively working with the prescriber. There may be cases where you have to refer. For example, I felt, okay, this is a broken hand. It needs to be seen by an x-ray. Go to see or you refer the patient to the hospital, get an x-ray. The doctor goes, it's not broken. They then come back to you, then you start the treatment. And it might be just advice. It could be, for example, mobility, stretching, and so on. But you can see I'm actively involved. It's not a condition that I want to do because I like it. For example, let's say I wanted to do let's say I had an interest, for example, in sports therapy, but I have no experience in it. You will not be able to undertake your prescribing course in that area because you're not experienced in it. The course itself is not designed to teach you clinical skills. You already must know how to take a history. You must know how to examine. You must know treatment options. You must be working as part of a team, and you must have support by your employer. So that's why when you're choosing your areas, pick and be wise when you're choosing your areas. Otherwise, you won't be able to meet the requirements of the course and you'll struggle on the course. So Coventry University, how to find this DPP at Coventry University, or if you're undertaking the course at Coventry University itself. Number one, you need to be a regulated healthcare professional. You need to have an area that you're experienced in, and then you have to find this designated prescribing practitioner, also known as a DPP or a DMP. And this individual, as I mentioned before, must be qualified for 3 years, must have experience in your scope, and be an experienced prescriber so they can support you while on the course itself. And it's a difficult role. That's why not many individuals undertake the role itself because there's a huge requirement for you to essentially be able to, or this person must be able to assess you as a trainee prescriber, must understand the course that you're enrolled onto, has to work with the university, is overall responsible to make sure and sign you off to say that this person at that time is competent. So it's quite a lot to require, which is why it's difficult to find one, and there's a shortage of one. And at Coventry, there's a shortage of one. There is a shortage at Coventry City to find one. Some of the ways that you might find is looking at your own phone book or your own network. Have a look locally. Do you know any friends, family who have used or have had experience with someone who can prescribe and is happy to support them? These are the key things that you're going to have to do to find someone. If that doesn't work, perhaps get in touch with Coventry University and ask them, do you know any DPPs in Coventry that can help? I also recommend actually speaking with local surgeries, PCNs and ICBs, and university trusts and hospitals. Always useful. But even if you do find someone, is it the right person? Ask yourself, have they taught your profession before? Can they evidence themselves across the DPP competency framework designed by the RPS? Because if they can't evidence themselves across, then you might not be in the right hands. As I've mentioned, have they taught your profession before? Are they familiar with the university course itself? And then there must be a contract in place. If that doesn't work, LinkedIn, I think, is absolutely amazing because there's so many healthcare professionals there. You can network, get in touch with those individuals at LinkedIn, or visit linkedin.com, start adding connections and introduce yourself. Build your network. I'm sure you'll find someone. If you're still struggling to find someone and you need some help, get in touch with us at MEDLRN. More than happy to help you find a designated prescribing practitioner in Coventry. The key thing to remember that the course itself is 6 months. And at Coventry, the course is split. So over the 6 months, you don't undertake all your hours in the first 6 months. It's normally in the later stages. So initially, they like to prepare you with various aspects of the course itself, finishing essays and treatment plans and so on. And in the later half, the remaining 3 months, 4 to 3 months, you do your 90 hours of supervision. So you have to undertake 90 hours of supervision. That's 12 days, where you'll be supervised by a prescriber. You'll perhaps be actively prescribing under the supervision of a prescriber. You'll be watched by that prescriber. You'll be doing various different activities. And it's a fun course if you prepare in advance. An hour to 30 minutes a day of study is more than enough. That's the key thing. Make sure you're familiar with what the course is prepared to teach you, what you're going to get out of the course itself. Make sure you have the right DPP in place, and you will absolutely enjoy the course itself. So finding a designated prescribing practitioner in Coventry can be a challenge, but it's not difficult if you follow these steps. So to summarize, visit the Coventry University website. Look at your local network. Get in touch with PCNs, hospitals. Get in touch with the university. If no luck, LinkedIn. And even if you're still struggling, get in touch with us at MEDLRN. More than happy to help you. Together, we can not only build a better world, but can make sure that you make a difference in your life and the life of others. Thank you for watching. Welcome to the video on how you can find a designated prescribing practitioner in Coventry. As always, thank you for watching, and let's make a difference in this world.